6-year anniversary of losing my son, who was 15 months when his life was cut short by a woman, 72 years old, who was driving drunk at 3:30 in the afternoon on a Saturday. My wife's sister, Liam's auntie, was going to pick up food. Both of them were struck by this drunk driver who didn't stop at a pedestrian crossing. My sister-in-law survived, and my son did not. He was declared brain dead the following day. You know, as a parent, you know, it's I can't think of a worse pain than losing a child, right? And I've always been very even tempered, even emotion. I've never had mood swings. I never had anxiety. I never had depression, and all of that is part of your grief work coming back. And it's the you know, it's the toughest fight I've ever had. It's the hardest journey I've ever been on. And you know, but I at the same time, I decided while we were still in the hospital that I refuse to let my son's passing just become another statistic of drunk driving. I didn't know how big of a problem drunk driving was in the United States. I didn't know that over 10,000 lives was taken every single year because of drunk driving. I didn't know. That's the equivalent of a jumbo jet crashing every single week. I didn't know anything about politics in the United States. I didn't know, because that's our mission with our nonprofit, Liam's Life Foundation, is to lower the BAC, which, you know, the US is a country that's been very divided over the last couple of years. And there's certain things that, you know, you can have different opinions on. But when it comes to drunk driving, it's scientific. We know exactly what each
it's black and white. There's no like, yeah. I mean, sorry, continue. But I mean, there's no question about it. Either you're past the limit or you're not. And in reality, like you're saying, even in Canada, I mean, we're very on par with you guys. Like that limit should be dropped.
Yes, and Canada, interestingly enough, you know, I've been speaking to over 18,000 high school students over the past 6 years. Obviously, 2 years where I wasn't out because of the pandemic, but sorry, 16,000, not 18,000. But I've been part of this program called Every 15 Minutes, which is a great program specifically teaching young kids about drunk driving and the effects and the results of drunk driving. And it actually came from Canada, because Canada used to have more deaths every 15 minutes. That's the name of the program, and that's why than the US. But Canada has changed its laws. But not just Canada, more than 100 countries have lowered the legal BAC from 0.08 to 0.05. And there's very few laws or bills that can be introduced to change the law that has so much statistics behind it as drunk driving. We know that in all these countries, more than 100 countries, the limit's been lowered from 0.08 to 0.05 or lower, and without a single exception, the fatalities due to drunk driving have dropped. And in my opinion, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that, right? But so I was naive enough to think that, well, this makes sense. This will be an easy change in the United States. But that's before I knew about lobbying, and especially dark lobbying. And, you know, I live in the US for a reason. I love the country. I'm definitely for capitalism. I think if you work harder than others, you should have the right to have it better than others. But I'm also from Sweden, and I know the benefits of a country such as, you know, in the US, people say socialism, and, you know, it's the same thing as communism and Marxism, and it's not at all. There's so many advantages with socialism, such as free healthcare, free education, you know. And when capitalism starts penetrating the legal system, the political system, healthcare, well, then, and there's no caps, then it's not good. And that's truthfully the problem in the US. That's why the population is becoming physically and mentally unhealthier. And, you know, what definitely once upon a time was the greatest country in the world, and in many ways still is. But just like if you're a champion if UFC champion, just because you're the best doesn't mean that you don't have areas where you need to improve
on. Yeah.
And that's where we're at in the United States. And until we get you know, handle this lobbying system, nothing's going to change, unfortunately.